Ref 3 problem, that was our problem. That was the problem.
It's better to shut down and start over if you can,
Exactly.
as opposed to shut down and damage.
When the triacs died was because the triacs we were originally using an 800 volt triac.
You overvoltage them, right?
Exactly. Not over current, but over voltage.
Yeah.
And what happens is that if the let's say the capacitor was at its high cycle, and it happened to be on a 480, the high cycle would be 600 volt, right? Now, 4.16 millisecond after the high cycle, you're at the low cycle, right? The peak low value. Well, that's minus 600 volt. Imagine at that moment the relay decided to close again. Now you will have 1200 volts of separation.
The back EMF on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The voltage difference. Well, 1200 volt is higher than the rating of the triac, and it would burn the triac.
Pop.
And so basically the solution was to detect that and shut down properly and wait for the next, So even if it's for 10 milliseconds, so anything faster than 5 milliseconds, we shut down. Okay? So if you just click the power for a very short period,
So 5 millisecond, all the way down to 0.
I have not
It'll
tested
shut
about
off.
that. I basically had a switch,
Yeah.
and I literally programmed the switch to turn on and off.
Yeah. You did
Okay.
the poor man's sake test.
Exactly. Yeah, but the point is that at some point, but you see, the difference is this. I am actually measuring the voltage on the 12 volt line, okay? So if the 12 volt line drops below 11 volt, that's when I do it. But I know experimentally that it takes about 5 milliseconds for it to do that. So that's what the 5 milliseconds is.
Okay, so if that happens, then we have to you should check your date periodically, and if there's any power outage, definitely you have to reset your date.
Yeah, if you have an
Okay,
event, it
got
might
that.
reset your clock.
Okay, same
So-
thing. Okay, like all the time I get an outage in my kitchen, and I'm always resetting the damn thing.
Well,
Really?
Same.
Again? It says PF, really?
so
Power outage.
everything is on this page. Oh, so you asked the question about how do you tell it? Right here. If there's more than one unit,
Okay.
before you download the data, you select which one you want, right?
Okay.
As far as recording data, I don't suggest it because it's a useless function, and I will get rid of it. It's useless because, to be honest with you, first of all, I can collect data. I can't collect data faster than what I'm transmitting, which is every 2 seconds, right? Second thing is that when you record it, unfortunately, it records it in text format, in a binary format, with a comma separated binary format. Average guys don't even know what the hell to do with it. So if I really want to keep this data function, I would have to write a whole lot of code to make it into Excel, and it creates another problem. Well, what are you downloading? If you're downloading data from, the spider cannot really be used to download data on all panels at the same time. And unless you do it on all panels at the same time, then what value does it have? You understand what I'm saying?
Well, it's a diluted value.
Well,
Yeah.
the problem is this. Let's say you're trying to detect a problem.
You want the whole system picture and you can't
Exactly,
get it.
and you're not going to get it because that's, you
Right.
can't record. I can only download data on one
Unless you
channel.
put a clock on that and told them to download all at the same time.
I don't, right now, to be honest with you, my time can be spent far better than that. Because that data is already being recorded. I mean, right here, you're looking at it.
Yeah.
It's being
Right.
recorded on all channels. Well, if you really need to record data for 1 second at an interval, the reason why you would use this is because the data that we collect is every 5 minutes. So you want better than 5 minutes, you want 1 second by 1 second? Well, would you need more than 24 hours of data if you're going to do it 1 second at a time? Well, the one already have it. You're looking at it. It's updated every
Yeah.
second. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that data is available. So there's no value to this function. So I just kept it there too because it's been there.
Okay.
So it's a useless one. I'm going to get rid of it.
So we go into the next page?
All right. So next page is the panel location map. It's just for visual effect, Philip.
Yeah.
It does nothing other than visual effect. Basically, you
So you load map and then put the symbols wherever you want them.
exactly. And this is another function. I want to be able to, one thing that it doesn't do right now, and I will definitely get a, if you double click in here, that will become the selected unit.
That would be nice, where I was
Yeah.
just fixing to mention.
Yeah. Instead of going over here and selecting the unit from here, you can go to the panel map and just double click on the one that you want.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes more sense to me. I don't know why originally the guy consultant that this, I don't know why he didn't do that originally. I'm going to do it myself. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, a lot.
So that's the, and there's nothing else other than that to it. You know. One other thing that I might do it, and I think that may have some benefit as far as Philip is concerned, I might actually put the KW right in here. So it shows you, oh yeah, I mean, I can see there's 5 KW over here, 2 KWs over here. So
The
there's
savings KW,
savings or the KW consumption?
or the consumption.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to put too much stuff in there. So one,
Yeah.
or maybe
Probably
you can
the-
pick. I don't know. I mean,
I think consumption's better than savings,
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh,
but you guys debate that, you're the engineer.
so that's the only other thing I'm going to add to that.
Okay.
The picture that you're looking at right now, I got that from Google, from University of Rhode Island. Okay?
Oh,
So almost anything that you want, because of Google right now, you
so
can
you
actually
can download it from Google.
Exactly. So basically, go to the site that you want, go to Google, if it's a big plant, do an aerial picture. It's free, right? So you can actually make that image literally yourself. Or if they already have a floor plan, take a picture of it and put that there. So it does have a lot of benefits. And the reason why I brought it here and the Rev 3 was down here is because really it's still a system page. Okay, it's not. It shows you the whole system. So, if there's any question you have on this map, no.
No.
that's great.
So this is our dashboard. This is the page that basically, if you are going to leave a laptop at the site and leave it on all the time, this is the page you want to be looking at. So you want to select one panel, and this is per panel. It's the selected panel, and basically shows all the parameters. And all the parameters are working here now. Last time we talked about a couple of them were not. Every parameter should be working right now.
Hey, Hamid,
Yes.
how big of a thing would it be to move the unit selector to this page, or to possibly even each page, so that you don't always have to constantly toggle back to the system page to change the serial number of the device that you want to read?
Not a big deal.
Because if I'm on this page,
Put a drop down.
I'd want to be able to toggle without having to leave the page.
I agree. No, it's a good idea. I'll
Yeah, put
it
a
all
drop down on the left or something, or,
right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot, man.
Yeah.
Good point. No problem. It's give me a few weeks.
Yeah. That's a nice to have, not a must have.
Absolutely. Honestly, I agree with that. I did think about that myself at one point, and it makes a lot of sense, of course. Any question on any of the parameters?
well, when you max out like down there on the current THD, it's maxed at 30, so it's not a
Well, put it
dynamic
this way.
scale, right? So-
It is a dynamic scale with a limit. That's what it is. Put it this way. Let's look at the THD. Put it this way. The value is right over here.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, I can't change this color. And because I want to keep the color scheme,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, there'll be a
Put it
whole
this
other
way.
algorithm for that.
I mean, it's really, put it this way, if your AMP's THD is more than 12%, I mean, maybe I'll increase that to 15. You really need to pay attention to it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a lot of harmonics on your current. You got to do something about it. Maybe this is the only one, and that's the one that you mentioned. This is the only one that could really probably do. I should probably change the color a little bit. I mean, what would you suggest? Where would you put the red section?
probably somewhere between 15 and 20.
Okay.
But I'll have to do some calculation.
So what
Give you
I'll
some
do is,
feedback on it.
that's a 5-minute fix for me. What I'll do is
Don't change it just yet.
No
Yeah.
problem. But basically, these are the things that I can change in no time. It's
Yeah.
literally 5-minute
Yeah.
job. So basically, every parameter is functioning right now. The neutral current is calculated, and it's basically calculated by the spider. It's not being received from the main board. That is a mistake on my part. I should have really transmitted that along everything else. Okay, so it may or may not match the actual neutral current that the SP1000 is calculating. But nevertheless, it's being calculated by the spider. If I ever update the code on the main board on the future revisions, I will fix that, and then this number will reflect directly. But right now it's being calculated by the spider. Okay, and no question on this page? Sort of detailed data. Detailed data is exactly that. It's a detailed value of all the parameters. You can see the minimum and maximum value reading. You can see the line demand is 102. Okay, so what it really means is that right now we are 2% above the nominal demand from the city. Right now, okay, and that parameter changes throughout the day. Last night when I was looking at it, we saw it was 98. So it has a 4% swing. In the summertime, I suspect it's going to be substantially higher. I suspect that this parameter becomes a very important parameter, especially if you look at it on the supply line. Okay, so that's showing you is 2% above the value. Okay, in the chart for a daily chart for this would be very useful. Okay, so on the panel, let me see.
Well, sometimes the numbers are so many digits and sometimes they're not.
Well, it requires me spending about 15 minutes on each one of them.
So they're rounding.
To round to a certain number. of-
Well, exactly,
This is a
exactly. These numbers, the slope coefficient, the calibration coefficients, they really do need 5 digits, okay?
Oh, for the calibration.
For
But
the
you don't have to
calibration,
display
that's
that though. That's the difference. You
Oh,
can
no, you
calc-
have to display it.
You do?
Yeah, because if, put it this way, if I want to physically change the value of the calibration, and there is a way, this is not something you want to tell your customer, but I'm going to tell you how right through the spider you can calibrate now, okay? But basically, you do need that, all the 5, 6 digits.
I mean, are you having so that looks familiar. Are you having a phase 3 amp reading problem compared to phase 1 and phase 2?
No, that's actually what's going on right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's why the imbalance was so high.
Huge imbalance. Okay.
yeah. It's, I physically verified it.
Oh, okay.
They are not.
So did I. I have the same thing at the church. And we measured it. It's exactly what this shows.
So maybe my issue is that I have a huge imbalance and it's not a reading
Imbalance is common.
issue. Yeah.
Oh,
But you
yeah.
still need to upgrade the program.
People don't.
No, I know. I'm
appreciate-
just saying.
People don't appreciate how important imbalance is.
Yeah.
You know, the definition that I always give it is, if you have a tray and you want to balance it with 3 fingers, imagine if you had a lot more load on 1, 2 of them, and the third one, you will have a hard time doing
Right.
that. The same exact thing happens on this transformer that supplies you power.
Mhm.
The transformer likes to have a nice balance.
Because it's all magnetically coupled.
Right, so what happens is that when you have too much load on one side of the transformer gets hot, the other side doesn't. Well, heat in transformers is by far the most important parameter, right? So what happens when one side of it is at 400 degrees, the other side at 100 degrees? Well, you destroy and not only you damage it, your efficiency of the transformer goes down drastically.
Mhm.
And so what happens that, the electric companies try to do something about it. They don't leave it alone when it's that bad. But if they don't, not only you have a ton of current coming to your neutral line, which is a complete waste, your transformer's life goes down drastically. The efficiency of the transformer might drop by 2 or 3%. That's 2 or 3% of all the power generated by the transformer. That's huge. It could literally be $50,000 expense for a power company.
At least.
At least. So it's so important that as far as the main transformer is concerned, you have a balanced system.
And the utility's not going to know it unless somebody reports it.
Well, hopefully they go and monitor it themselves. Because otherwise they're paying for it and damaging the transformer.
Well, yeah, hopefully.
Big transformers have efficiencies in the range of basically about 90, 92, 93%. So 7% of the power in an average transformer is being wasted in heat. Well, and so if you change that 93% down to 90, that's 3% more. If you have enough of it like that, you could get rid of a power plant and still achieve the same goal. So every 20, 30 power plant, if they just do a better job of balancing system, every 20, 30 power plant can become obsolete. There's just nothing better than that for a power company, you know? So imbalance is such an important thing, but almost nobody pays attention to it. I don't know a single electrician that when they go to wire something,
They don't
say,
think
"Oh,
about it.
Let me make sure," because in fact what they do is, they put all of the ceiling on one face. All of the, you know,
Receptacle on another thing.
right, another face. And you know what happens? Ceiling lights are on all the time. And they're all, you know, so when I did my data collection at CVS, I saw such a huge imbalance that was unbelievable. Honestly, if I knew about that in advance, I would have changed my entire strategy with CVS. If I knew they had such a huge imbalance. And so I learned quite a bit from that data collection. We collected data for 1 month at two CVS locations. One of them the SP1000 on, one of them the SP1000 off, in 2 locations, same areas. And we saw 11% savings on the 8% saving on the KWH, but 11% on the KVA over the course of that month. And the only reason why they haven't gone with us is because we were supposed to install 4 units, and we only installed 2 units. The other 2 units were the Rev 3, and they never worked, so we never turned them on. And that was our biggest problem. They said, well, you guys could not even install 4 units. How can you go and do 8,000 locations?
Yeah. Well,
And
we
so-
address that later.
That's, and
Go back
that
to
was
the
because of
client.
the really the problem
Right.
that we had with the Rev 3 problem. And you know, it was premature. And I told the guys, I said, this is, you know, you don't go to a big customer like that prematurely. Okay? You have to be sure that you know what you're doing when you go out and risk so much. You know what I mean? Literally, CVS paid $20,000 just for the data recording and installation of units and everything. So it's not like they didn't want to do it. Our connection with CVS is literally at the top. With the previous CEO and the present CEO, they both want our system in there. And I'm going to go back in there. You know, frankly, I'm personally with my partner on the APM that you were talking about. One of our goals is to do that because we have a lot of connection with CVS. My daughter literally is a friend of the son of the guy who started CVS. I mean, they're really close friends because she goes to his house all the time. You know what I mean? I have great connection. We have connection with the literally vice president and the guy, the COO, is one of our partners. The actual lady who's the CEO of CVS is one of our partners at APM.
There's less.
So we are going to go in there.
Oh
It
dear.
will happen. So, but my point was that we have to go mature. So I'm going to go back
Right.
to CVS.
Yeah, you have to be prepared for
Right.
your
And
client.
this time
You
I
have
know
to
exactly.
Right.
When
what
I
your
had
client's needs are.
100% imbalance, that means basically I could go in there and just fix their imbalance and get my savings. And forget about everything else. If nothing else
Right.
works, just by the, when you have 100% imbalance, you know, you could just basically go in there and rewire the
Balance
building
their-
and save the 5%,
balance.
6% that they wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Is it in your computer? Is it your computer screen?